There's a ticker.
And I hope you're taking it easy out there. Welcome to Auto Talk. You're listening to Dave and Jan Murphy every Saturday at 12 o'clock. I hope you're going to ride along with us the whole next hour. We've got a lot in store. Dave is here with me, and
Hello, everybody.
we are the hosts of Auto Talk each and every Saturday. We also own Murphy's Auto Care in Beaver Creek. You can check us out anytime. We're open Monday through Friday, 7:30 to 5:30. You can schedule an appointment online, give us a call, or give us a call here on the radio today. We love taking your calls. 457-1290 is the number to call. So we're also live on Facebook. We give everybody on Facebook the opportunity to post their questions, and we'll do our best to answer the questions. Anything automotive that you want to know about, we are here to talk to you. How about joining me here?
I will. You know, I needed
you.
to take a little breath there. That's
I know,
good. So
I'm a little
you're all
rusty.
excited, and that's good. It's good to be excited.
I am. It's a great day.
It's a beautiful day again here. Weather is always changing in Ohio. You know the old saying, if you don't like the weather, wait an hour. And that's going to be the case here, I think. But welcome to Auto Talk. I'm Dave Murphy, along with Jan. As she mentioned, we are the owners of Murphy's Auto Care in Beaver Creek. And you probably know us pretty well if you've been following us on here, and we're glad you are. I do want to let everybody know again, you mentioned Facebook Live. Facebook Live is a great way to interact with us. We'd love to see you there. We've got some folks jumping on right now. So welcome to our Facebook Live feed.
Well, good afternoon.
But if you're with us on the radio, that's awesome too. We really appreciate it. And another way you can find us too is our podcasts are available at WHIO.com or Murphy'sAutoCare.com anytime, 24/7. And we're also on iHeartRadio. So we're kind of all over the place out there. Anytime you want to hear from us, we'll help you out. If you have a question for me directly, just remember my email is simple. My first name, which is Dave at Murphy'sAutoCare.com, and I will respond to you promptly. So welcome to Auto Talk. Let's have some fun here today.
Yep, let's have some fun.
Absolutely. Lots of things going on. And obviously we want to hear from you. So please call us. The lines are open. Our producer Brandon is waiting to talk to you. The number is 457-1290. You can reach us there. He will let us know you're waiting to talk to us. We'd love to hear from you. So again, that number is 457-1290.
And if you're listening from outside the area, that's a 937 area code. I know when I've been out of town, I've still tuned in on iHeartRadio to listen to you. And even then, you can give us a call at the station. That's 937-457-1290, and we'd love to hear from you. We like answering questions. We like hearing what's going on with your vehicles. Maybe we can help you or point you in the right direction. Or even if you're looking for another shop in your area, we can help you learn ways to go about that wherever you are.
Right. Or we're happy to recommend someone in your community. If we know them, we're happy to do that. We believe strongly in the family business. And small business, that there are around our community and all over the country. So we've been fortunate enough to meet many of them, and so we're happy to recommend. So anyways, that all being said, I thought we would dive into some of the things we have on our, want to talk about list with people.
Yeah.
But like I said, call us. We're here. We want to talk to you, or jump on Facebook Live and send us your comments. They're right there. I wanted to start out the show today. We had a caller last week. His name was Josh. And he had a question about how to determine if his Ford SUV, I believe it was an Expedition, actually has a tow package on it. And it was a little challenging because we didn't have quite enough information. But after I got off the show, I thought about it, and I thought, one of the easiest ways is to all you have to do, Josh, if you're listening, is just get underneath the vehicle on the rear or the front and measure the diameter of the sway bar. And then call a parts house or just go online and look it up. And the larger diameter sway bar is typically going to be used on a vehicle that has a trailer package. Now, someone could have ordered it specifically that way, but typically the larger sway bars are going to be on those vehicles. And just to protect you as you're cornering and so forth, it makes the vehicle stiffer. So if it has the smaller diameter sway bar on it, it most definitely does not have a trailer package. But if it has a larger one, most likely it does. So I just was in the moment last week, and
that's good.
Couldn't totally remember that.
Sure.
I wanted to share that with him and everybody else out there.
We always like to follow up with our listeners' questions too.
Right,
so whether you're posting on Facebook or you're listening to the show or you've called in the past, we always like to follow up so you can go back and you can even see that show or that podcast and
right.
listen to the original story. And then, but it's great. We love answering people's questions and helping them get to the bottom of what they're looking for.
Absolutely. Hey, real quick, I want to say thanks to Alon and thanks to Paula. Thanks for joining us right
Thanks
there.
for joining us today.
They're
We got
hanging
a
in here
super
with us,
show.
and we're glad you're here with us. So we'll be as entertaining as possible, but hopefully educational as well.
Yeah.
So glad you're here.
So I know you made a couple of posts this week on our Facebook page, Murphy's Auto Care. Go back and scroll when you get a chance. That's, of course, when the show's over. We have a lot of interesting stuff that you posted on there about our new Goodwill gem.
Exactly. So we this week, you know, if you were following us last week, whether you were or not, but just join us on our Facebook page. Can't stress it enough. We're always posting, but right now we're in the middle of just the kind of the discovery phase on this little 1966 red Mustang that someone donated to the Goodwill Auto Auction, and that's our partnership with them, one we truly love and enjoy. But at any rate, we are going to go through this vehicle and get it up and running because it's been sitting and not running. So it'll eventually go back to the
donated.
auction.
It was donated.
That's right.
So, I mean,
That's cool in
what
itself.
a fun thing. And we are going to get that up and running well. And it's going to go back to the auction, and it will be auctioned off. And most of all those proceeds that car will bring stay right here in the Miami Valley, and with all the programs that Goodwill Easter Seals does. So.
And I'd like to think those that are listening to us and following us on our Facebook page, you kind of get a little inside information to that. So you're going to follow it. You're going to get to see what's going on with it. And by the way, we're going to tell you first when that's going to the auction and when it's going to light up on it's a 24/7 auction, but you'll be able to bid on it first and then follow it if you're interested in the car.
And mostly if you have a car to donate or you know someone who might, the donations really help everybody right here in the Miami Valley. And so you can call 228-AUTO. They'll handle everything for you, or you can go to goodwilldaytonauto.com for more information. So we wanted to get that GEM project update out.
Oh, yeah.
And then I think we're going to jump right into owner's manuals today. How boring is that?
Well, I'm trying to make it fun.
Who reads their owner's manual?
So if, like I said, if you're not following us on Facebook, you're going to get to see a little what I think is kind of symbolic of the times.
Oh, yeah, I sit and read it every night.
So, by the way, if you're listening to us too on the radio, we're talking about this. So the little Mustang, I have the owner's manual for it, right? It is 72 pages long, and it's actually a lot of fun to read.
Look how thin this is.
But I got a big kick out of it. So now then, here is an owner's manual for a late model Chevy pickup truck, and it's 502 pages long. And here is an owner's manual for a Lexus, okay? And that owner's manual is over 900 pages.
Look how thick that is.
So I think it draws.
If you run out of toilet paper, this will get you by for a while.
Well, it draws quite a contrast in how the evolution of the automobile, has moved. And does that seem that long ago, really, that we were driving that '66 Mustang? No, not to me. All right, but it's
you
really.
You could read this in 20 minutes.
You could read it while you're driving. I mean, it's like not a problem. You shouldn't. I wouldn't recommend it. But the owner's manual is one of those things that when we talk to customers, so many times we'll mention, oh yeah, the owner's manual in your vehicle, and they have this blank stare. I get it. Some people's manuals aren't in the car.
By the way, this big thick one is the manual to my car, and I will admit I've never read it.
But I have.
Never.
So I have. So
I take the car into the shop and I say, "Can you help me, please?"
And
I don't understand this.
So first of all, I wanted to talk about owner's manuals with people because it's really, really, it's informative, it's educational, it's helpful to understand just some of the common features on your vehicle that you have. And oh, by the way, most modern vehicles now, they also have a quick start manual, which is, another 125 pages long.
Yeah, it's a little cheat sheet, huh?
Yeah, but if you want to really dive into how this thing really works and why it does it and why the strategies are built that way, this is not a repair manual. The repair manual is millions of pages for most cars, and that's something that we all subscribe to in the repair business, so that we have that depth of information. But something else I found interesting. So in the little Mustang owner's manual, just like all of these, there are maintenance coupons that are meant to be either signed off by the repair shop when the car's serviced,
really?
or to be pulled out, and clipped off. And what that is it's there it is. And guess what? That vehicle that's over 50 years old has nobody ever read that manual either. I know life was busy back then too. But my point is, in my experience of over 40 years of doing this, I've had, I can count them all on one hand, the amount of customers that came to us and asked us to sign off on the owner's manual.
This is a 30,000-mile maintenance service on a Mustang.
Exactly.
Nothing.
And maintenance is important, right? We've all talked about it. So I find it interesting. I hope we together, I hope we've had a little fun here talking about owner's manuals. But most of all, hopefully, you'll grab the owner's manual out of your car and you'll go, I didn't know that's how I had that feature on my car.
Well, or even the Quick Guide has
sure.
some of those basic features that many people might take the time to read.
Right. I remember we got a newer car here months ago, and it was used. Of course, we typically purchase used cars. But I started reading the owner's manual, and one of the cool features I discovered is that the rearview mirror actually also can transfer to a camera, right? So I can see a camera view in a wide-angle lens, which is really interesting
It is
to see. But you can switch back and forth. So just those little kind of features, maybe how the windshield wipers are supposed to work, maybe how to adjust your control pedals. So many vehicles have adjustable pedal heights.
Or how to turn the windshield wipers off before you go through Mike's car wash.
Great point.
I struggled with that for a while because of the automatic wipers
that can get expensive in wiper
and
blades,
delay and whatever, the sensors that sense the water on your windshield, and it never failed. There for a while I would go, they're like, turn your wipers off. I'm like, I don't know how. And they would help me. And then you helped me. So
absolutely.
We all have a lot to learn about our vehicles, and not to do damage to them, but I frequent Mike's car wash all the time, and I finally mastered how to turn my wipers off before I go through the car wash. So
yeah, absolutely. And we'll come back to Mike's in a minute. We got a caller, Brandon. Brandon, if you can bring that caller to us, we'd sure appreciate it. Sounds like Peter. Hello, Peter. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, welcome to
how
Auto
are
Talk.
you?
Hey, good, thanks. How are you guys?
We're
Good,
excellent.
Good. How can we help you today?
Well, I have a 2002 Honda Odyssey, and I'm trying to figure out at what point do I need to get the transmission rebuilt, or just donate the car, or how that stands out.
Sure.
It has 330,000 miles on it.
Okay.
So it's been a great car.
Great.
And lately what's been going on is I've been coming out of the driveway and going from neutral to drive. There's a slight pause before the transmission engages.
Uh-huh.
That pause has been getting a little bit longer. And the last drive, I've noticed it was a little bit more chunkier as it was downshifting.
Yeah.
And even one or two times where it was kind of revving up a little bit more when I was trying to upshift.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure it's transmission related.
I would agree.
I don't know how much a transmission rebuild costs.
Okay.
Or whether it's just time to donate the car for parts.
Well, a lot of questions. My first recommendation is to make sure you have really good tennis shoes or boots here pretty soon, because if you take it out and drive it very far, you're probably going to be walking, and a good coat. But yeah, okay. I'd say these are some obvious or very, very serious signs of the transmission beginning to fail. How long have you owned this Odyssey, Peter?
The whole time. So
oh, wow.
2002.
Okay. How many times has this transmission been serviced, roughly?
It's never been rebuilt, but it has had a transmission fluid service.
Okay.
Probably 3-4 months ago.
Okay.
Was the last one.
And was that because it was already starting to slip, and we were hoping maybe that would rectify that or alleviate some issues?
No. We try to keep good maintenance on the car.
Uh-huh.
Like I said, it's been a really good car for us, and it's had a good life. I just didn't know whether I should extend it or just say goodbye.
Well, I'll tell you what. If you'll hold on, we have to run to a break. This is a great question. We want to chat with you about this and hopefully help you make a decision, because that's what you're looking for. And it's a great one. It will help a lot of people. So hang on, Peter. We'll be right back after this break.
Okay.
Cool. We'll be right back to you. All right. All right. Hey, everybody. Tuning in. We are so glad you're with us right now. I'm going to run to this quick 2 or 3 minute break, we hope. And we'll be back with Peter. We're going to talk about maybe extending the life of this vehicle. But, when you get to 330,000 miles, that's a good long life on a vehicle that's now 19 years, almost 20 years old. So we'll see. But Alon, I knew you would have something to say here. So you're saying one of the things is that you did was downloaded the owner's manual.
And read it all. Wow. Good
I
for
love you.
you.
I love you, man. You are so awesome. But
That's great.
you and I kind of have that thing up there. We're connected,
Well,
like
I'm
brothers,
sure, I'm sure
mechanics.
it helped you learn a lot and know what to expect with your car too.
Yeah, absolutely. There's nothing like understanding it, and of course, you can have some fun with it too. But that's what it's for, One of my idols, Chuck Yeager, he never flew an airplane till he read the owner's manual, and I think that's a pretty good idea, especially when you're dealing with airplanes. So, wish everybody would read the owner's manual for their car, at least when it comes to how to use turn signals.
Not me.
I know. Well, pretty soon, you'll be in a totally autonomous vehicle that you'll just get in and tell it to just take you to the grocery. And I think that's what you're looking forward to.
I do that with you now.
I know you do. I'm your remote control.
Dave, take me to the grocery.
So, take me to wherever I need to go. So,
Well, I appreciate it. And I cook for you.
Oh, Ron's jumping on with us. He's got a comment there. He said Peter might want to get some snowshoes. You're
Sure.
right. Yeah, based on what we got coming. So, we were going to kind of chat about that a little bit. Maybe some tips. We haven't seen any snow really this year. People have been really lucky if they were going out. Right, if you were going out.
Some little things.
I just noticed Beaver Creek Township, that's where our area is, where we live at, and they made a post today on Facebook about how they were prepared. They had a great picture of all of their trucks lined up and all loaded with salt and all the plows on and all the team, and it looked really good. And I thought
I can say for Beaver Creek Township, they've ordered more salt already.
Yeah.
Because the snow is going to come and go in the next few days, and then we're going to get some more. And let's face it, we're going to come into February, and we're going to need more. So we kind of skated by January pretty easily, and so
dodged a bullet.
Not a lot of accidents or things like that as far as cars go. We're going to come back.
That's great.
We're going to come back here to Peter and finish answering Peter's question.
Yep.
And welcome back. Thanks for tuning in today. Right before the break, we were talking to Peter about his Honda Odyssey 2002 with how many miles?
I think 330,000. Peter, are you still there with us, man?
Still there, and just turned 330,000 miles a couple weeks ago.
That's awesome.
Excellent job. So you have maintained your car very well, I would say, and it's done right by you. That's for sure, to get that many miles out of it.
Yeah, I think we were talking a little bit here on the break with all the folks joining us on Facebook about that and between ourselves. But I want to be really honest with you, because your real question is, should I donate it? Should I fix it or whatever? Not knowing, haven't seen the rest of the vehicle, but still my experience would tell me most likely that vehicle's not really worth putting $3,000 to $4,000 into a good quality remanufactured transmission. Could it be repaired? Probably not without rebuilding it. So to answer your first question, how much would that cost? And then I'm sure you can, decide on your own. The minimum you're going to get by with is $2,500 to rebuild it and have a good warranty with it. And it could go $5,000.
And you're still going to have a 330,000 mile engine.
Right. Now, if the timing, if that's a timing belt engine, I'm assuming it is, if those things have been done, the tensioner's been done, the coolant's been changed, all those things are good on it, and all the other maintenance items, then great. But still, we're pushing 350,000 miles. There's that break point. You got to get to that point and say, what's really good for me and my family and for my budget? And if you can afford a car.
And also pat yourself on the back for keeping the car going that long and providing, that transportation. I mean, what a great investment it's been for you.
Yeah. So if you're if you're thinking about donating, well, we would encourage you to donate to the Goodwill Auto Auction. But if also, I would extend this to you. I don't know if you're in the Dayton area, Beaver Creek area. If you'd just like for us to look at that for you, kind of give you a little more in-depth assessment of it. We do a digital inspection. We do it very inexpensively. We could kind of talk to you about what all you've done, look at that, help you make that decision. So if you're up for that, let us know.
Thanks so much. I appreciate it.
Hey, we appreciate your call.
Thank you, and you have a good day out there.
Yep. Stay well, and most of all, don't slip and slide. Take care, Peter.
That's half the fun.
Oh,
Yep,
I know. You're
that's
right.
true.
It is. It is. Alrighty.
That's a great question.
Oh,
You know,
excellent.
we've seen a lot of customers as well over the years that do maintain their car, like Peter. He's done an excellent job getting that kind of miles in the car.
Right.
That's great. It's been a great investment, and he's made it a great investment because he has invested in maintenance,
Yep.
maintaining his car. That maintenance will get you a long way.
And I would say if he were to look at all of his expenses over that almost 20-year run with that vehicle, and then just divide it up over his how long he's had it in the miles, his cost per miles is probably very low. But it's all because he's done a great job maintaining it, and just goes to show cars can get there. It's not a problem. So absolutely. Great call, Peter. We appreciate that. Hey, let's talk about batteries a little bit. And also, we have lines open, obviously, at 457-1290. So don't hesitate to give us a call or jump on Facebook on our live feed and chat with us there. Batteries. Well, why do you think I want to talk about batteries today?
Tell me, I'm not a guesser.
Oh, yeah, I know. We're not guessers, and that's the point. But batteries, a lot of people may be thinking, hey, it's going to get really bad this week. Maybe I should get my battery checked. Yeah, you should if you haven't had it checked. Batteries obviously need to be checked every time the vehicle's in for service, assuming that's about every 3 months or so, maybe 4 months. But if maybe you're a do-it-yourselfer, right, and that's cool, you love to do that stuff, or even if you're a tech and you're listening to us, glad you're riding along with us, but keep in mind, so many issues on modern vehicles are the root cause can just be low system or circuit voltage from a battery that's failing, from a battery that's weak. All right, something that we call in the industry called U codes, and those are codes that are related to the network that operates on the vehicle. Most vehicles that are out there on the road now have just multiple numbers of processors on board, and those are all operating riding on a CAN bus or a network. Okay, and the battery is the number one key component that if it drops voltage because it's starting to fail, because it's got issues, bad connections, just dirty connections, we're going to start seeing codes that are what we call erroneous that are set. They're all a result of a failing battery. So what do? How do you figure that out? Well, technicians use a lot of different tools. They use digital voltometers, they use oscilloscopes, and they use other test equipment that's loaded into handheld tools. But the first place to start is always with the battery, regardless of what's going on in the vehicle. Test the battery. Make certain also that it's capable of being recharged, that it's capable of taking a charge. And when we're talking about batteries, we're starting to see now a lot of vehicles with Agm batteries, which are absorbed glass mat. Totally different technology, and that technology will extend the life of a battery, all right? And some of the great things about an Agm battery, which you can also install in your vehicle if you don't have one, they're an upgrade, but they're 20 times more resistant to vibration. And what happens in a car under the hood or wherever it's located, right? It's vibrating all the time. There's something shaking going on. So an AGM's a great choice. We're going to talk a little more about that when we get back. So hang in there with us. We got a whole lot more auto talk coming right at you.
The WHIO Storm Center is currently activated. Weather information is next.
All right.
So that's the ping you're hearing every so often. The ping is the little warning for the weather that's going to be on its way this evening. So hopefully you've already been out to the store and made your errands and your car's working well and you've gassed up and
good tip. I think we're just gonna talk about that right now. The obvious things that just reminders, folks. Make sure your
stick a pair of boots in the car if you have to go out.
Right. Maybe have a blanket in there, a bottle of water,
a scraper,
cell phone charger.
Because the snow's going to turn to ice or rain.
Yep.
And then back to ice Sunday night. So if you can, keep your car inside, even if you have to put the dog out.
Hey. They're part of the family. Don't say that. So, but yeah, we need to be prepared here for some weather change. Good news is it won't last very long. The sun will be shining in a few days.
The sun will be back out.
And hopefully that helps people out. But, maybe in the meantime, get a little fun with some of the grandkids. Get on some sleds, have some fun. But most of all, don't slip and slide and fall and, anybody whack your head when you hit the concrete. So that hurts. But so, yeah. So again, thanks to everybody who's watching us and following us right
Well,
now.
and we're going to go over some car care tips for the weather coming in.
Yeah, we are on the radio. I think that's, you just can't talk about that enough. I don't think so. I thought it was really cool the way you were able to bring Mike's car wash into the conversation earlier, and point
Yeah,
that
because
out.
when the sun comes back out on Tuesday, I'm going back to Mike's car wash. 3 convenient locations.
Because you want your underbody cleaned.
That's
I know.
right.
Yeah.
That's
Mhm.
right.
I do
Clean
too.
car's a
I
happy
do too.
car.
I do too.
So he's got Alon's got new tires on, so he's ready.
Oh.
Good for you.
Hey, Alon, is it a lot quieter? Does it feel better, like you got a great connection with the road now that you got new tires on that thing? We actually did a post, or I just did a post this week on our Google business page of an interesting tire that we had. I was on a vehicle we had it this week, and I was in the shop just talking to the guys, working, I think, on that Mustang project. And I saw this vehicle, and I said to one of the techs, I said, "You are taking pictures of those tires, right?" And they said, "Oh, yeah. He sent it all. He'd actually done a movie about it, but sent it on to our customer stuff." But I couldn't help taking a picture. This vehicle, the tires were 7 years old.
Mm-hmm.
All 4 of the tires had longitudinal cracks in all of the relief grooves on all 4 of them. They were deep enough to stick coins in them, like coin slots. And of course, the vehicle owner had no idea that these tires were all separating. All 4 of them. They were only 4 years. They were only 7 years old.
Wow.
So that's why we recommend looking at replacing tires after 6 years old. Because we see it happen all the time. These were Goodyears. I was surprised. They were Goodyear tires, but it has a lot to do with where you park your car, how much sun exposure you have, and just the environment.
Or how long were the tires sitting in the sun before
Good
they ever
point.
bought them?
Good point.
Tires have expiration dates on them, and we always have to pay attention to that. And they shouldn't be stored out in the sun like on tire racks that auto repairs take out in the sun to get attention,
Right.
which is fine, but it's hard on the tire.
They're talking about all this weather we're going to get here, so we'll see how it's going. But UV rays, you're so right.
rays.
Yep, Alon, that is exactly it. That's what gets them. So, and it depends on the amount of silicone in the tire rubber compound. I'm not a tire chemist, obviously, but it can just depend on that. But the UV rays are huge. So I've actually seen tires get stored like out west. People store them outside, which it just is really funny. It's nothing like going to your tire center store in Phoenix, and they've been storing all their tires outside. And of course, the one size you need, they happen to have had for a year on their rack. Probably not a good idea. So, but yeah, I've seen that. So people just don't think about it sometimes. We got a message there from Brandon. What's he saying, Jan?
Oh, we've got a caller when we get back, so that'll be fun.
Caller.
We'd like to ask you to consider donating your
Cool.
vehicle to the Goodwill
All right.
Auto Auction.
Lots more to chat about today. A lot more. Had some cool things going on. Well, just some interesting things. Maybe not cool to everybody but me, but I go through the week. I'm talking to the guys. We're looking at different vehicles. I see things, and I find them really interesting, so I want to share them with people. Hey, Josh, there he is. So how much would it cost to replace the rear hub on a Subaru Forester if I have the part, labor costs, and what are they? Hey, Josh, great question. Great question. Unfortunately, I don't have any access here right now live on the show to give you that information. Our guys at the shop would be happy to talk to you about that. You can send us an email, like I said. You can either go to our website, murphysautocare.com, and leave it in the comments section, or you can just give them a call at 426-AUTO, but do it on Monday because we're open Monday through Friday from 7:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. And also, typically, we are going to recommend that we install our parts from our suppliers because of the warranty that we offer. But cool. Oh, you're listening on the radio. All right. How's that going? So we'll share it when we get back. Then I'll be happy to share that question and answer.
Thank you.
Hey, we got Larry Leadham. He's Colorado Springs. Hey, good morning, Larry.
Severe weather, 1290 and 95.7 WHIO.
All right. And here we go, everybody.
It's our Ask the Expert weekend on the Miami Valley radio station with breaking news,
Good
weather, and
sound
traffic.
levels here.
1290 and 95.7 WHIO, Dayton's News and Talk.
And welcome back to Auto Talk. You're listening to Dave and Jan live every Saturday at noon. We call it the fastest hour in radio.
Vroom.
We love doing the show. We talk about everything automotive and beyond. And we are taking your calls today. 457-1290 is the number to call. And I think we are going to go to the lines right now. Looks like we have Ryan with a 2016 Chevy Malibu. Ryan, are you there?
Yes, and good afternoon.
And
Thank
welcome to
you.
Auto Talk,
Thank you.
Ryan.
How can we help you today?
Well, a couple months ago, the check engine light came on the Malibu, and I had it diagnosed at one of the auto parts stores as a CO2 sensor. The car wasn't performing any differently than normal, and eventually the light went off before I could get it fixed.
Okay.
So I just moved on with it.
Uh-huh.
I received a class action lawsuit letter saying complaints include check engine light is on, loss of power, oil leak, reduced engine power, stable track light on, traction control light on, shift park warning, water leak.
Right.
I haven't had any issues with that up till now, so I called a Chevy dealer and asked for a recall number, gave them my VIN, and they said there is no active recall on that model at the time. I don't want to just ignore the problem if it still remains a problem,
Correct.
but I don't want to ignore it if it's going to cause a problem down the line.
Okay.
So far, no changes in performance except the door alarm bell rings occasionally when I'm driving.
Okay. All right.
Like the door's open.
Okay.
Other than that, I don't know which direction to go with it.
This is a great question. Great question. So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions just to make sure. Tell me roughly how many miles are on your vehicle and if you know what engine you have.
It has 73,000 miles on it.
Okay.
Engine, I honestly, it's an LTZ.
Okay.
Malibu LTZ. I don't know what engine.
Okay. Well, that's the LTZ is the trim package for the vehicle. And so it either has a V6 in it or it has a 4-cylinder in it. And either one of them, so that letter you got probably came from a law group somewhere around the country, because there has been a lot of folks that up to this point have had to have major repairs performed on that. It happens to be not only your model of car, but it's specific to the engine that they used. And so they had some issues with valve train components, and because that's a variable valve timing engine along with direct fuel injection, that quite honestly, when General Motors built the vehicle and they specified you needed to use their oil, everybody doesn't do that. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't even follow the oil change recommendation times, which is unfortunate, and that caused excessive wear and tear in those engines. Okay, so I'm not referring to you. You may have taken excellent care of it, and it sounds like that's possible. But a lot of folks around the country just don't do that, so they consequently have problems.
I did purchase it from a national car rental agency.
Okay.
So at 43,000 miles, and I don't know what maintenance was done, if any, before that.
Okay.
I have not stayed with the specific oil that you're mentioning,
right,
because I didn't know that.
Well, you don't need to, because all the oil manufacturers have come up with a Dexos equivalent that exceeds the specification. So that's not a problem. It's really, the problem with the engine really goes to the interval of time. And that's why we're such huge proponents here, at least in the industry, at our company and on the show, of change the oil far in advance of what the vehicle's actual oil interval, the automatic one, is. You'll save yourself a lot of problems. So let me go back to your check engine light and the oxygen sensor code that was retrieved at a parts store. First of all, and all they're doing is they're reading a code that was set. So it cleared, it didn't clear itself. Maybe they cleared it, but
No, they weren't able to do that, is what they told me.
Good, and they shouldn't, and that's probably a policy they have. They're not going to clear codes because that's a diagnostic trail. But
Right.
that code was being set because most likely your engine experienced enough misfires or it was out of time enough, not that you noticed it, but the processor on board did catch it. And unfortunately, when that happens, it changes the exhaust content as it goes past the oxygen sensor. So the oxygen sensor sets a code and says, I'm out of parameters. It corrects itself and it goes on and you don't notice it. So all the other symptoms that you mentioned in the class action suit, you've not experienced yet. But
Correct.
the actual door chime you're speaking to, most likely unrelated to any of that. Now, if it's got the original battery in the vehicle, it could be that. We could be starting to see, like we just talked about earlier on the show, a drop in voltage that could be causing it. Could be something else. It needs to be diagnosed and it can be checked because it'll eventually drive you crazy if it continues. And then I really appreciate you bringing up the point about you purchased that from a large national rental group, not knowing the maintenance. And you bring up such a great point because they don't share that typically. And usually there's a reason they don't share that. So the reason is that it wouldn't, I guess, cast that good of a light on how little maintenance they actually perform on a vehicle. And they're not going to do any more maintenance than what the manufacturer's owner's manual, which we were talking about earlier.
Minimum requirements.
Minimum
requirements at best.
That's right. And you would think that what's in the owner's manual would suffice to keep the vehicle, the engine, the transmission, all the components in great running shape, right? To last through the warranty. Right. Unfortunately, that's not the case with the engines.
Well, car rentals are in it for the short run, not the long run.
Yeah,
so they're going to do what it takes to maintain that car while it's in the rental program, and then they're going to sell them off and get other cars, and it's a real short term thing for them.
Right.
But the fact that you're interested in maintaining your car as it should be, you can still get a lot of miles out of that car.
Love it. I love the car.
Oh yeah. It's a great car, and you'll get 300,000 miles out of it. This would be my recommendation to you. I'm hoping you have a great place to take the vehicle. I would take it in, talk to them about it, or even if you have a good relationship at a Chevrolet dealership. But I would take it to someone, get them to thoroughly check the vehicle over, get the factory scan tool on it, which is what you'll get at the GM dealership. And hopefully a good technician that can connect the dots and look at the historical information of what set those codes or set that code. It should all be in there, and they can look at it. They can take it on a test drive. They can look and see if they see anything else out of range. And then they're going to take their experience, put it together, hopefully, and make a recommendation on should you do something now? Should you wait? Should you move forward? The only thing I would say is this is with a GM dealership, they are typically reluctant to make any major recommendations of repairs unless it's on your dime. So,
right, I understand that.
Yeah. So if you ever want a second opinion and you get something, just give us a call or stop by, whatever. We're happy to just review it for you. There's never any charge for a second opinion. We're happy to look at that for you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Have
Appreciate
a great
it.
day.
Thanks for calling Auto Talk. Yeah. Hey, stay out of the snow. We'll talk to you later.
We may have time to. Thank you.
Yeah.
We have another caller, David from Beaver Creek, asking about plugged catalytic converter.
Oh, great.
And about removing it.
Okay, let's talk about that.
David, are you there with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, thanks for calling in today. We appreciate it. How
Welcome
can we
to Auto
help
Talk.
you with your catalytic converter?
Well, I have a 2002 GMC Envoy,
Mm-hmm.
and a while ago I had, the ignition coils went out, as they do.
Right?
And after that, very little power out of the engine. And, I'm sure that the coils are just fine, but I suspect that I drove a little bit too long with bad coils and maybe have clogged my catalytic converter.
Sure.
And my question is, can that be tested without removing the catalytic converter?
Yes, it can. Yes, it can. Absolutely. There's a couple of different tests we can do. We can, of course, look at exhaust back pressure. We have a tool that we can remove the oxygen sensors in front or in back of it and make a comparison on the back pressure in the exhaust. That leads us to that point. We're also going to take a look, and now I'm talking about any shop that does deep diagnostic work. So you can also just take a look at it and look at the engine vacuum and see what the other parameters have been seeing. But if you've got a constipated exhaust system, that's definitely it will not make any power. It just won't. And I'm sure you're spot on that the coils, if as they were failing, because it was running, unfortunately too rich, and that's what kills a catalytic converter. I would put, I should say caution you or prepare you. I believe that vehicle has multiple converters on it, not just one. So just because it's rich on one bank doesn't mean you don't also have a problem coming soon, or it was affected on the other bank. But that can all be tested to let you know that. So, and I appreciate your question, because that's the place to start. You never want to just take them off. I've seen people do that, just hack them off, weld a pipe in, and it's a mess. It's just a mess. So, at any rate, great question. Does that help you with what you were thinking?
Yeah, it does. I don't know that the vehicle warrants replacing the catalytic converter based on its age, because I imagine they're quite expensive. And now that you mention it, might have two of them.
Right.
A couple $1,000, I think, might be out of the question for this vehicle.
Yeah, and I see your point.
But a lower cost diagnostic might eliminate that as being the issue.
Absolutely.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the couple of $100 spent to determine if they in fact are restricted is money well spent, because then you can make a really informed decision on what to do with the vehicle.
Right.
I'm not sure if it's related, but around the same time, I noticed when I would park the vehicle in the garage after having driven it, that I would hear like a hissing noise, like leaking air, like compressed air.
Uh-huh.
Does that tell you anything?
It could potentially be, an indicator that just in front of whichever catalytic converter is restricted, it's actually bleeding off the back pressure, perhaps in a joint that's just not quite as solid. Mm-hmm. So it could be potentially. Yep. There are other things that the vehicle will express some air, I'll say, depending on the situation, the temperature, the timing, things that have been going on. But yeah,
it does sound like it's coming from the engine compartment, I'll say.
It does. Okay. Yeah. Could definitely be that. So let us know. I think you said you're in Beaver Creek. We're happy to take a look at it for you, if you'd like for us to, or if you have a great place to go, good for you. That's wonderful. So we're happy to hear that. But appreciate your call, because a lot of folks don't understand that, and I think it's a good thing to talk about.
Yep. Excellent. So,
all right, thank you.
Hey, thank you.
Stay safe out there.
That's right.
Thanks
Enjoy
for
the
the
weekend.
call today. And real quick, Dave, I want to mention our sponsors. I know we spoke a little bit about Mike's Car Wash and their 3 locations. They're open to 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. and they make it fast and convenient. Also, I want to mention KOI Auto Parts. KOI, and we have talked about quality parts on the show today with some of these callers. And so we have a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty, which we could not have if we bought inexpensive parts that are not reliable all the time. In our industry, Dave, you have a lot of expertise and a lot of knowledge about parts. And so we buy quality parts. KOI is a quality parts. That's where professionals get their parts. So thank you, KOI.
They are one of our key suppliers, and we appreciate it very much.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So also BG Automotive Products, some of these flushes and fills that we were talking about earlier in the show. One of the gentlemen who regularly did his maintenance has 330,000 miles on his vehicle. So we use BG products. If you want to find out more about BG, you can go to bgprod.com and find a shop in your area, or give us a call or send us an email. We'll be happy to help you find a shop that carries BG products. BG also comes with an additional warranty on the component if you do regularly scheduled maintenance. So that means if you're doing transmission flushes regularly, that's going to give you an additional transmission warranty that comes with that. And
$4,000 if it's caught, if you have it done early on.
Good peace of mind. So thank you, BG Automotive. Right now, we're going to go to another quick break. We'll be right back with you to finish up the show.
That's right.
And just stick with us. We'll be right back here on Ask the Expert Weekend.
Having a great one out there. Hang in there. Be right back.
The WHIO Storm Center is currently activated.
Wow, we got a bunch of people jumping on here, Jim.
1290 and 95.7 WHIO.
A Buckeye in your pocket is lucky, and that's especially true.
So, yeah, absolutely. So we've got Mick Roundtree. He jumped in here with us. Mick, how you doing today? Excited you joined us. You got a question about, of course, about your old Honda. I remember that. But it's really about timing belts, and I think that's a great question to bring up, about how long will a timing belt really last. Well, manufacturers of most vehicles want to see timing belts get replaced around 100,000 miles. There are some vehicles, Hyundai's, Kias, I can't think of some of the other ones off the top of my head. They'll recommend it by 60,000 miles. But we're also starting to see an evolution in the internal combustion engine of a movement away from timing belts, moving towards timing chains. We've seen a lot of vehicles go all timing chains because they found technology that can make that engine run quieter. That was one of the things about a timing belt. They're much quieter in their mechanical operation. But yeah, so glad you're joining us today. Really, I'm really glad you're joining us. For all of you out there in Facebook land, Mick has been one of our long time friends, supporters of our company.
And radio listener.
He actually donated the very first vehicle to our community charity cars program years ago, and helped an individual then tremendously. So Mick, our hats are off to you. Thanks so much. Thanks for being there for us.
Thanks for your question today.
And feedback.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He gives me feedback, lets me know. So got Robert White joining us today as well. Robert, glad you're joining along with us here. Hey, Murphy's Auto Care is also joining us too.
I answered Alon's comment.
Oh God, I wish I understood Facebook.
Pay attention.
This whole Facebook thing is just,
You're fine, honey. You're the car expert. That's good.
I'm definitely not the social media expert, so I'm not worried about that. But just having a lot of fun here, and it really is more fun when we have this many people.
The interaction, the questions,
us.
The comments. So we appreciate that. And actually, we do have another caller when we come back. So Alon was right. We do have a late show, late in the hour. Phones are lighting up, and that's what we love. It makes the show so much fun. And
Alon, LOL. Yeah.
You get a kick out of yourself.
Well, I get a kick out of I do. But you know what's been really cool? So we've been on Facebook streaming live Auto Talk now for about a year. And
on Facebook.
On Facebook, right. We've been, doing it from the studio. We've, of course, been hosting it for over 5 years. And, of course, Mick was one of the first people to jump in and chat with us then. But Alon has been with us since we started on Facebook. And so
we actually
chimes in.
We tried to start in the studio, and, we have to use their equipment, but our equipment, and we tried to do Facebook Live in the studio. That was a little bit challenging because Dave had to sit on another part of the room to operate the boards for the radio. And then if I was filming for Facebook, we couldn't always hear him, or he couldn't always hear me. But mostly we couldn't hear the callers.
Right.
So the Facebook listeners couldn't hear the callers on the radio, their questions. So then we'd have to repeat them. And so, all in all, this is really a good setup here. And, although we miss going into the studio, we can do the show from wherever we are. So we like that the most.
We do.
Being able to do a show live, so that's just
much
better.
So Alon just said we need to have a 12-hour stream, and Mick just said he thinks we're having too much fun here.
Yeah.
I thought that's what you're supposed to do.
It's a barrel of laughs.
Living with me, I'm sure
is.
is.
That's what life's about, is fun. Even if you have to get your car repaired, we want you to have fun doing it. Weather advisory. We're going to come right back to Dean on the lines.
All right.
Dean on the line.
Seen Dean. We're going to see Dean here on the lines. Can't wait.
It's an Ask the Expert weekend on Dayton and Springfield's 24-hour news, weather, and traffic station, 1290 and 95.7 WHIO, Dayton's News and Talk.
And welcome back to WHIO, Dayton's News and Talk. You're listening to Dave and Jan every Saturday at noon. We do have another caller we're going to go to.
On Auto Talk.
On Auto Talk. We want to talk to Dean. Dean, are you still out there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Thank you so much for your patience today. We've had a lot of calls lighten up, and we're live on Facebook answering questions. How can we help you today?
I just had a question here of why this one individual cylinder is not receiving any oil. It's a 3.5 Chevy Uplander. It's an 05. We just put lifters in it because it was tapping so bad. Usually that's a no-brainer, collapse lifter.
Right.
Well, these are roller lifters, roller rockers. I put all that in, no problem. Now it's still tapping. I look at the valve lash on that in particular valve, and it's really mushroomed. and I noticed a couple of the, while it's running, I've got the valve cover off. I noticed a couple of them were squirting, but that one is barely getting any kind of lubrication at all. What constitutes that? The push rod is clear. There's nothing else there that would obstruct any oil coming through that. What would be your at this point, if I was to throw a head on it in the junkyard, have it machine shop, whatever, but am I still going to have an oil pressure issue on that individual's rocker arm?
I would say,
Does that make sense?
yeah, no, good question. I'm going to turn you down here just a little bit. I'm getting a little bit of echo, but yeah, gosh, I would. It sounds like you've ruled out, to me, the majority of areas for restriction. But you mentioned that you got brand new roller rockers in it, right? All of them, right?
Well, not brand new roller rockers, but it comes with roller rockers. But I did put new lifters in, which are rollers. Yeah.
Yeah. So we ran into a situation, I want to say it's been 6 months ago or so, similar to that. And we didn't have decent oil pressure on startup, but everything else seemed clear. But I want to say that we had some defective parts, if my memory serves me. And there's nothing worse than you replace these parts and now you're chasing your tail.
Yeah, after all that work.
Right.
So
Right.
I don't want to tell you that's exactly it, but that could be the possibility, because if you've got good oil pressure, I'm assuming you've tested the oil pressure. Really, you're looking at it, you're seeing it coming up.
That's what I have not done, put an actual gauge and actually see the physical, instead of going by the gauge of the dash. I have not done that yet, but I'm looking at that, because why would that? And the other ones are kind of squirting a bit and more than others, and
right.
If that one is just lacking lubrication. Now, if the lifter was...
Are you still there, Dean? Yeah, we got you.
Yeah. What generates that oil pressure from there?
Well, the thing that generates oil pressure in any engine are the clearances between the crankshaft, the camshaft, and typically, the oil pump. But the oil pump is really just a circulation pump in most engines. So if you have clearances somewhere in the oil circuitry, and you might do this, you might go online if you haven't looked at it, and look at an oil circuit for that engine and start looking at the areas that are close to where your restriction you believe is, and see, because you could still have a piece of metal, piece of bearing material, or just crud from the engine running over time that's still lodged and restricting the oil somewhere. So hey, wish I had a better answer for you, but I would first look at the oil circuit first and see if you can't, just like a wiring diagram, and start from where the problem is and go backwards. Okay?
Yeah, I gotcha. So if the cam's wiped, whatnot, it's best just long block it, I would imagine. I don't even throw a head on it, I imagine, at this point.
I would agree, because if it's wiped the cam out, you're gonna high chance of having that stuff in the engine, and it's just too hard to clean it. I think it's better off to get the vehicle back on the road with a good, dependable motor. So I hate to tell you, I got to run here, Dean. Great question, man.
Hey, call us back and let us know how that turned out. We'd love to hear from you again.
Yeah, sure, we'll do. Appreciate you guys' info. You guys got a great show.
Thank you very much.
You have a great weekend. And everybody else, you have a great weekend too. We will be back next Saturday. Stay safe out there, people, with your car and with your lives.
Thanks for joining us on the Facebook Live feed and right here on the radio. Count on us. We'll be there.
Happy Saturday.
You need us. Take care, everybody. See y'all.
WHIO Dayton, WHIO FM Pleasant Hill, a Cox Media Group.